Hello, everybody. Welcome along. We should be lovely and live here on YouTube tonight, discussing all of today's football headlines. If you are present and correct and in the stream, do say hello and let me know that you can hear me and see me clearly before I begin on a pretty good load of football stories today. Obviously, we're still talking meetings, planning, but we get ever closer. What are we, June the 3rd today, to that June the 17th Premier League bow. In fact, 2 weeks today, won't it? It will be Villa and Sheffield United and Man City and Arsenal. So lots to discuss as ever. Get your opinions in the chat and we'll do some questions when I've gone over all of this gubbins I've got in my notes. If you are watching on delay, get your comments in on everything we discuss. Thank you to all the people saying hi in the chat. Welcome along. Please give me your opinions. They are appreciated. First of all, the Premier League TV money rebate. Quite an important story, this one, because this rebate that the TV people wanted, because they haven't had their football matches live on their channels that they're paid for, is being delayed. So Sky Sports have gone in and said, look, you guys don't have to repay this until the 21-22 season. Now, that may not seem much to some people, but when you actually follow this chain of events, that could, you talk about the butterfly flapping its wings and in the Amazon causing a hurricane wherever 1,000 miles away. Well, that's the Premier League TV money rebate thing in microcosm, because that may mean that the Premier League clubs have money which may go into the transfer market, which may then filter down. What we don't want is the chaos to happen in the top and pour all of the way down. The Athletic are reporting. So we're talking Sky first. Sky have gone first with their decision, and we expect BT to kind of follow suit. So they're owed £170 million for their TV games that they have not had. So on the proviso that the Premier League does restart and then finish by the end of July, they will delay this money being paid back for an entire season, which does seem kind of Premier League centric, but I do think actually helps everyone, that money staying in the game and not being all taken out at one point. However, here's the doomsday scenario. If there is a curtailment, a total of 762.2 million will have to be paid out in rebates. So when we're talking about, there's your answer to about 100 of these questions. When you're talking about why we're continuing, that's why. If this season gets curtailed, that's the number. Premier League clubs are going to be paying back £762 million. That will be a disaster for everybody, not just the Premier League clubs. That will filter all the way down. And the big news with that is that would then affect the solidarity payments coming down as well. So the Sky money that comes down in parachute payments, which, yes, I don't like. But the solidarity payments, that goes to all of the EFL teams. There would be an impact on that. So a big thing there with the TV rebates. And you can see, I've kind of joked all the way along this that men in suits from TV companies might be speaking to owners and maybe just giving them a little nudge that they're gonna vote to play on. There's 762 million reasons why. There we go. Hi to everybody in the chat there. Jaggy says going to be a dead transfer window. Quite possibly. Oh, we have Talk Norwich City. Jack Reeve in the chat there. Hey, Jack. We'll be doing another show with Jack as well. Hi to Sandra, Blades fan there. Nick's asking about refunds on season tickets. Please tell me. Go and check on my Twitter. I've retweeted it. the Sunderland season ticket refund scheme. Very, very funny. Alan says, remove parachute payments, make it a fair level playing field. Yes, I kind of see where he's coming from, but unfortunately you'd be removing all of the solidarity and most of the money going on there. Ridley asks, how do I see Derby getting on when the season resumes? They were trotting along quite nicely, weren't they? So there we go. Jackie's in the chat. Sunderland season ticket situation is a disgrace. Basically, no refund, and they're going to allow you to stream the Sunderland home games for free, and that's it. So compare that to a Premier League fan who's going to get to see everything, most of it on free-to-air TV as well. There you go. Will says, did you see Thomas Frank's comment on Griffin Park? No, Will, tell me what it said in the chat. I'm going to move on to the latest testing results, which are very, very just interesting. Dan's there says, donated my membership rebate to the academy. Obviously, if people have got money troubles because of Corona, then look, take the refund. Yeah, fine. But I think a lot of clubs will follow what Dan's suggesting there, and they'll ask it as a donation. Whether it ends up with all the academies, I don't know, but it's certainly a good way to donate to your club. Right, latest testing figures. These are positive. So only one positive sample from 1,197 tests up in the Premier League. Remember, Championship, there was 7, on the last load of tests. And quite alarmingly, League Two, out of only the four playoff teams, there was 10 positive tests. But the Premier League, as we're coming into the runway here for the restart, only one positive test. We don't even know whether that's a player, could be a member of staff. We do know it occurred at Tottenham Hotspur. So a Spurs employee is the one of 1,197, which someone can probably add up quicker than me, 0.00 something 1% there, I would have thought. So really good there. If you go through all the tests here, this is from David Ornstein's tweet here, 13 positives from 5,079. Premier League players are clean and safe. There we go. Will says he basically called Griffin Park a S-hole that we all love. Wonderful. Yes, indeed. Noel says, did I hear Jack Grealish on TalkSport this morning? No, tell me what Grealish says. Dan says, Norwich City have the rebate options as a refund, donate to community. Yeah, I think Jack had talked about that on my show with him. I've been lucky in the lucky situation. I don't mind happy. But yeah, fair comment, Dan, fair comment. And Norwich have done well in getting fans to support the academy with the bonds and whatnot. They're quite a clever scheme there. So if people still consider that they're doing that, then if they see more Max Aarons type players, I'm sure they will be fine there. 11 Aside says, I'm a Wolves fan. What's your opinion on that? I think you're a very lucky boy to be a Wolves fan and have all that faux sun money, but enjoy it. It's going to be a good time. Thoughts on the talk about Harry Wilson to Leeds? Wow. I think that'd be an awesome signing. I don't know how they could afford it. I'll tell you what as well, speaking of Bournemouth, at Ipswich, we had Ryan Fraser, who's going to be a free agent. That guy is a superb player as well. And he'll cost you a pretty penny in wages, but you get him on a free transfer. So there we go. Right, moving on. Speaking of more TV companies and TV money, biggest company in the entire world is Amazon. They are going to be putting the 4 games they've got on free-to-air TV, which is cool. Remember, Amazon did the 2 rounds of games for the Premier League over Christmas, did a pretty good job. By the way, if I'm Sky or BT and Jeff Bezos and Amazon are interested in getting football, I'm pretty scared because that guy's got more money than God. So be interested in seeing what their plans are. They've dipped their foot in the water here, and speaking of the water, they could blow everybody out of the water if they really want to get involved in football and get that going down. Amazon, I'm sure Rupert Murdoch and Sky and BT are watching that with interest. Jaggy says, loved how you could turn commentary off on Amazon. There you go. They are innovating. Alex Green, Managing Director of Prime Video Sport Europe. I wonder how much he makes a year. Dear me. Like the rest of the country, we're excited to see the Premier League action return. We will be making 4 of Amazon Prime's video additional fixtures free of charge. Excuse me, I've got that wrong. Sorry. So 4 of their fixtures. I assume they've got more if he's saying 4 of. But still cool that it is going that way. Dan says Amazon probably was the best of all the broadcasting. Interesting. Dazabu says, when you think TV games will be published, rumours whether they'll be out this evening at the latest, I guess. Do you know, I think they might go quite late with that because we've still got votes. We'll talk about what's going to happen. In fact, we'll do it right now and then we'll come to those issues there. Jaggy says, Take Us Home was great too, and the one with Dortmund. Yeah, so Amazon certainly rearing up with an interest in football here. Powerful people, Amazon. Hey, we'll see. And I'll tell you what, if they come along and remove parachute payments, they can have all the TV coverage they like. There you go. Only cool if you want to watch the Premier League. Yeah, fair enough, Alan. Fair enough. But hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get some free-to-air Championship games, or at least down the iFollow leads. TM asked exactly the same question. Any Championship free-to-air? We are waiting, and we will find out. Remember, the EFL are sadly behind the Premier League at the moment. I have sympathy for Rick Parry. As I've said, he's got a lot of chaos to sort out. So, yeah, we'll see. I'll get on to the EFL statement. Don't expect much. Right, the next Premier League meetings, and again, this really informs what will happen in the EFL because they will likely follow the Championship, the Premier League in the Championship, and then we'll see what happens with the voting in League One. Remember now we've got the threat of if the Premier League stops, the solidarity payments do not come down. So big deal, 4.65 million to every Championship club that doesn't have parachute payments. That's a big deal. They're not going to stop, but they'll be reduced. Right, on the agenda at the Premier League meeting tomorrow, they will be discussing the following, and they will need 14 votes to pass any of these shenanigans. Neutral venues, so they, I think the police are fairly set in their ways that they're going to be having neutral venues. They've listed some games here, a couple of interesting ones. Man City, Liverpool, that stands to reason. That's the top two, isn't it? Man City versus Newcastle. I guess Newcastle fans likely to congregate. Manchester United versus Sheffield United. I don't know why that one's on the list. There we go. Newcastle versus Liverpool, again, big fan bases. Everton versus Liverpool, same city. And then it just says the game in which Liverpool could secure the title. So there we go. Alan says it's down to Amazon and Netflix for the new way to see it at home in a few years. Yeah, quite possible. Ridley says top four race. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, Sheffield. That's a very fair point, actually. You know, on the channel, I love Sheffield United. Yeah, and it is a top four race game, isn't it? So they're going to be voting on that, probably which games rather than whether we're doing it or not. I think we're definitely doing it, aren't we? Neutral for the ones the police wrote about. They're going to talk about new registrations, which sounds fair enough, especially if you're Charlton as well. I know we're talking Premier League, but if you've registered 3 players and they're going to refuse to play, then it would only be fair that you could get a chance to register some new ones. So I think they'll vote in favour of that, registering new players to 25-man squads. I suspect there'll be a limit to how many new ones you can. So we will see what happens on that one. Scott says, Midlands reporter saying there won't be 3 games in the first week of EFL, but we'll restart. Yeah, I would have thought they'll do what the Germans did and go Saturday, then Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. And God, I had one very pedantic commenter saying, a 3-game week's not actually a 3-game week because it goes over 8 days. Well, I'm going to keep calling them 3-game weeks because you all know what I mean. Hewson says, with a picture of Bono, well, there you go. Do you think clubs like Leeds with global support will be able to allow an international contingent to attend even neutral grounds? Loads of Irish travel to watch the Whites. Yes, but obviously when things are going to be behind closed doors. Dan says, I do find it insulting the suggestions football fans turn up. We're not that thick. I find it insulting too, Dan, but when I see 5,000 people queuing outside IKEA, I kind of understand the police's point of view. So there we go. I don't know about Ziyech. I'm not sure. I think he can play, can't he? But there we go. 11 aside asked, what are my opinions on the Black Lives Matter campaign? Oh, that's a difficult one. I'm afraid I fall in the campaign of that a club just tweeting a kind of empty platitude isn't enough for me. I actually agree with Kevin Prince Boateng and Jonathan Liu in The Guardian. I think sometimes clubs are scared of saying nothing, so they tweet something kind of generic and say, "Oh, that's our racism work done." My argument is, I actually think it would be better, rather than tweeting generic stuff, if people want to help with society and with racism, why not tweet 3 things that you are personally going to do to help with racism. For example, I'm in the lucky position of working in the school, and the kids watched Newsround this morning, and I had a discussion with disadvantaged children about racism. So I would like to think that I did more in that discussion than I would have had I retweeted some platitude. I know that's all some people can do, but that's my view. It's complex, and I don't think small things are a fix-all. But there you go. Maybe I'm in a luckier position where I can actually do something, especially with young children, especially disadvantaged ones who may have some crap being put into their heads, put it that way. There you go. But look, I don't want to get into the race conversation, but I'll give some very simple views. One, anyone in police custody should feel safe and not end up dead. And 2, racism's stupid and it sucks. But I know that doesn't necessarily help solving it. But I just don't think some of the things and some of the virtue signalling we're seeing also does help. But there you go. That's my quick opinion, and I hope I haven't offended anybody with that. That's just how I feel, and I want to help, and I want things to get better. That's my view. Anyway, moving on. Increased substitutions. This will get passed through, won't it? They'll get 14 teams. FIFA and IFAB came out really quickly into the lockdown, and thank you everyone for being sensible on the comments on the Black Lives Matter stuff. I think it's important not to blow things out of proportion and be crazy on either side. I think we need conversation, and I think it needs to be balanced, and it needs to be moderate. And I think conversation is good, and shutting down people's opinions is not. So well done those people who are, and not just people who are agreeing with me, but who are being smart about it. Increased substitutions. Sorry, I got sidetracked. Chelsea are lobbying for 9 substitutes instead of 7. I think if you're going to ask players to play, Jaggy says, let's just talk football. There we go. I haven't heard Clinton Morrison's views. No, I'll take a look there. If you can summarise them, please do in the chat there. I'd be interested in your thoughts on 9 substitutes on the bench, and if we're going to have 5 coming on, we may as well have 9 there. I don't see that's. And we're expecting players to play 9 games in 6 weeks, help them out. I don't know whether there should be any criteria on maybe you can only make 2 in the first half or whatever, but then I suppose that's not going to happen if you get injuries or what have you. So, I think that'll all get passed. They're still going to be discussing relegation as well, but remember the relegation issue, the FA have kind of steamed in a little bit on that. I think we'll get unanimity across the Premier League and the EFL. Finally, they're going to discuss VAR, but hey, whatever your views on VAR, having it for the first 29 games or 27 and not the last 9, that would just be weird, wouldn't it? Because you're just going to get someone have a decision that if there'd been VAR would have been disallowed, and they're going to keep VAR, aren't they? So that would be my views on what's going to happen at the Premier League meetings tomorrow. I think they'll sort out the games. I think they'll vote yes for new registrations. I think they'll vote yes for 9 subs. And I think they will enforce relegation. I think they'll keep VAR. So there you go. Right. Someone asked what the EFL had to say. Another statement. We'll get to that EFL website for the almost weekly statements now. Jesus. It says the EFL board met today and considered a number of proposals submitted in respect of the proposed amendments. We're talking about how to carry on with the season. This now brings to an end a comprehensive consultation, and clubs have today received formal notice of the meeting, which will now take place on Tuesday the 9th of June. All that meeting, clubs will consider a number of different proposals from both clubs and board of the EFL. So the meeting's been moved back a day. which is not good. So now you're going to have the meeting, and what I've been told is a multiple vote. So please tell me they can sort it all on the same day. They really do need to get their act together on this now. And then 11 days later, the championship is supposed to restart. We've all heard all of the muscle now about the likely curtailment of the Premier League. Remember, this is all interlinked. I think if the Premier League goes ahead, I think that helps the championship to go ahead, etc., etc. In terms of the new proposals, it does seem to be that the Mark Palios one from Tranmere seems to be getting the most legs. So the EFL's proposal is quite simple: unweighted points per game, top 2 promoted. This is in the event of a curtailment, by the way. Bottom 3 relegated, playoffs stand. The Tranmere proposal, which is interesting, which I personally don't like, but it doesn't matter that I don't like it, because what Tranmere might have done that's actually quite clever is, if you make a proposal that 13 teams will vote for, then it doesn't matter whether it's a good proposal or a bad proposal. If it benefits those 13 teams, they're going to vote for it. And we've seen in the last few years, it's not always the best person that wins the vote. It's the one that can get the most people to vote for them, if you see what I'm getting at, President Trump. So the Tranmere one, where they're talking about margin for error, and it's a bit wishy-washy to me, but what it does do is it might entice a lot of League One teams to actually vote for it. So Tranmere have gone for the margin of error, where if you're in a relegation position or a promotion position, if you're within the margin of error from the average points per game of the last 3 years, i.e., if you're in a position where you're a long way behind or a long way ahead, you're still going to get relegated or promoted. Whereas they've looked at the margin of error for the last 3 years, and if you're within that, then things are extended. So, for example, that would benefit Tranmere, third from bottom, but would then not relegate the other teams around it. So someone like AFC Wimbledon could say, well, I'll vote for that. That will help my mates out at Tranmere, but I still won't get relegated. Where it becomes way more interesting is it would entice the playoff teams to play on, because Coventry would be automatically promoted, but Rotherham wouldn't. So all of a sudden, if I'm Wycombe, Fleetwood, Oxford, Peterborough, Sunderland, Pompey, whoever, I'm like, hang on a minute, there's an automatic promotion place to play for here, and the teams below, there's a playoff place to play for here. And it might be they go into a playoff tournament. So even though I actually personally prefer the EFL's model, I think maybe more people might vote for Tranmere's model. Be interested to know what people thought of that. And I do stand by my comment. It's not the best idea that people will vote for. It's the one that benefits the most people that makes them likely to vote for. So it could happen. And the fact that they're listening and the fact they've moved the vote back a day means that they are going to put these proposals on the table if they like them. Alan Nixon of The Sun was still saying he thinks the EFL will kind of push their own agenda. But hey, if they can get 13 clubs, Mark Palios and Dara McAntony can get 13 clubs on board, then who knows? Who the hell knows? But there we go. Right. Shall we do some questions? That is the news for today. If anyone's got any questions, stick them in, any comments. I've got a nice South African here. I'm going to have a little sip on. I've been at work all day, so I deserve it. Any questions, that would be wonderful. Noel Morris Statement. Football governing bodies have been a laughing stock throughout the whole pandemic, even though it was unforeseen. I can see that view, Noel. I can see that. I feel sorry for the EFL. I really do, because they've just got so many people with so many different agendas, and they've got to get them all to agree. And obviously, that's proving rather difficult, isn't it? So, yeah, I can see it from both sides. Just quickly before any more questions come in, please hit that thumbs up button on this video, and do go and vote for Benjamin Bloom and the channel at the Football Content Awards. Jackie's just said he's voted for me. Wonderful. So if you go to Best in Video for Creators, you can vote for me. Scott asks, if Corona tests exceed 10 this time around, Do you think points per game has a stronger case? Scott, I don't know what the number will be. I don't think they've got an idea of a number. Do you know what I think would be more of an issue? One would be if it was split amongst a lot of different clubs. And two would be they're going to look at the R number as well. So I don't know, but they must have an idea of what they're thinking. But hopefully, we've seen the Premier League clubs get their act together and it comes right down. Hopefully, that will happen also in the Championship. The worrying one, as I said, was 10 out of 135 staff in League Two. So there we go. Michael says, how many people run football? Too many, Michael. Some would say Sky Sports run football, and BT and the FA, the PFA, the EFL, the Premier League, all sorts of people. But too many is the issue. But there we go. Any more questions? Ridley, my question, will playoff and FA Cup finals be played at Wembley even with no one there? I don't see the point. I know it's great for players to play at Wembley, but if it's empty, I think any of us can buy one of those experiences or whatever, can't they, and go and play at Wembley. I don't know what the benefit is. If there's no fans there and it's not a prestige event, then I guess they're going to try and just do it in the safest place possible. And hey, we could still get a situation where if they are running out of time and all the playoff finals need to be played, well, they might get all the players localised to one place, which you think would probably be in the Midlands and would be out of town. That's one issue with Wembley, is getting people not to gather there would be, although I suppose there's all the building stuff all around it and whatnot, and maybe they could secure it. But I don't know. I don't see what benefit there would be playing it at Wembley, but hey, could still be done. Kneedown says, does this put paid to the theory that the Premier League don't need spectators in the ground? What do you mean, Kneedown? Does it endorse it? Well, yes, it does, doesn't it? Because they're able to continue and do it. And the choice the Premier League have got is either do it without people in the ground or pay back £762 million worth of TV money and curtail the season. So no, they don't need people in the grounds. I think it's been common knowledge for a while that the Premier League could run with no spectators or give the tickets away for free. So yeah, there you go. I think it puts meat on the bone there, if that's what you meant. Knee down. Michael says it's 4 a.m. in Australia. Anyone else this needy to have football info? Michael, go to bed. Watch on delay, man. You night owl. Dear me. Hope you're okay down in Oz there. Kian says, do you think the Championship will play the 9 games? Yes, I do. I'm optimistic here. I'm back to work. IKEA's open. Year 10s and Year 12s are going back on the 15th. Retail's going back. Just hope that bloody R number doesn't keep coming up. If the rest of society goes well, then we will see. Bono says, will I miss you next season? He's a Leeds fan. Look, I'm going to try and keep the channel moving with the football stories videos next season and these type of streams. So I think I'll still be talking about Leeds, I think. Scott says the EFL will be doing announcement after announcement next week with the small window they have left. Yeah, they will. And it's kind of a necessity now, isn't it? But yeah, they've left themselves 11 days basically, and either that or they're forcing League One into cancelling and not leaving them enough time to play. So there you go. Glenn, any chance of your CD? I want to blast your tunes out the car window. Glenn, can you send me a tweet on Friday? I promise I'll do it on Friday. I'm working tomorrow. Noel says IKEA's open. Yes, isn't it? Don't we all know? Nick says football could be back with fans before Christmas. Possibly, Nick. Possibly. If it's just difficult with people sat right on top of each other. I've just seen a story when I was researching this of people going through sanitizing spray in a stadium in Israel and whatnot. So we will see. We will see. Kian says, is it for League 1 and 2 voting next week? Yeah, the 9th. I just hope they do all the votes on the same day. They really need to, even if it takes 8-hour meeting on that Tuesday, they need to vote for the new regulation to be put through, and they need to vote for what they're going to do on the same day. I don't care if that means they only have 2 hours to think about it, because they've already had 3 months to sort it out by that point. So Yes, sorry, I'm getting vexed about this now, aren't I? Jasper says, Benjamin, the undercover Leeds fan. Do you know, I've been accused of supporting so many teams: Villa, Sheffield United, Millwall, Leeds, Norwich. The scarf up there will always be Ipswich, I'm afraid. But being a neutral is great. Watching neutral games, I get to admire lots and lots of great clubs and great teams, even if I don't actually support them. June 20th, Birmingham City's back four will be open too, says no, not optimistic about how they're going to come back. Needown says, furlough has been expensive, just bought a new guitar. I'm still rubbish. Yeah, maybe record us what you're practicing on your new guitar, Needown. Right, hopefully that's been informative, everyone. Thank you, as always, to everybody in the chat. If you're still here, do two things for me. Hit like in the chat, hit the thumbs up button, and go and vote for me. Football Content Awards, best in video, and you need to go down to the creator box. There's some big ones in there, some Arsenal, Thogden, who's got 1 billion subscribers, hasn't he? Stump Peg, the same. So go and vote for me, give me a chance, and I'll go down to the event at Tottenham and shoot some footage, and we'll have a bit of a laugh here. Remember, a lot of those people, and I'm not looking down at them, are on the entertainment side of vlogging. Remember, us here are on the analytical side of vlogging. You guys all want to know about rebates and meetings, and you're in a little bit deeper and I don't want to say a little bit more knowledgeable, but you know what I mean. So maybe a vote for analytical football vlogging there would be what you'd be giving if you voted for me. As always, you can support the channel on Patreon, and you can hit that dollar button there and either send me a super chat or a emoji and donate to the channel if you want to support monetarily. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see what the news is like tomorrow, but more likely I'll do a stream on Friday with some more stories, and we'll see where we are after the Premier League meeting. Actually, there might be enough stuff to do one tomorrow. Jack was in the chat earlier. We'll do a podcast as well with Jack Reeve of Talk Norwich City, probably on Friday as well. So thank you everybody for watching, and I will see you all very soon. I'm going to have the rest of this and enjoy the rest of my evening. I'll quickly just, Kian says his birthday on Friday, so happy birthday for Friday, Kian. Thank you everybody for watching. See you soon.